Back for more, sooner than we thought. In fact, despite the fact that you're getting this a day later, it obviously clearly just followed on directly from the other video. I haven't even bothered to change my clothes. So we're moving on to the bottom arm. Bottom arm, really quite straightforward. It holds on. It has three main jobs really. First one, probably the most important one, is it puts the paddle in the water. That is a really crucial job. Once it's in the water, it holds on while the body unwinds, generates all the power we've generated from the feet up, and it holds on to that. It does not let it go. And then its third job is obviously to take the paddle out at the back, and there's ways of doing that, and there's always discussion over those ways as well. And remember, when you do message in, private message me, or put a message on the YouTube or the Facebook or wherever it is, everyone's opinion is a good opinion, okay? We're all open to learning from all of this. So I talk about bottom arm, and bottom arm extends from the hand to the elbow to the shoulder, no further. I talk about bottom arm deliberately and top arm deliberately. I hate hearing the term pulling arm and pushing arm. We've already explained why I don't like the pushing rather, and now the pulling, same thing. This arm doesn't pull, it resists the forces that go on it, and we'll show you the difference between pulling and resisting when we get on to the slider and the later. On the slider, I want you to have a look at what the bottom arm does. I have three positions for a bottom arm that I describe in the other coaching video I've done. This is a straight arm, fairly self-explanatory. This is a bent arm, again keeping it simple, and this sort of not quite straight but definitely not bent is what I describe as a broken arm. So for me, at that point of catch, that arm is somewhere between straight and broken, but just off straight, and it enters the water like that, and it comes through the stroke. Remember, the arm extends from the shoulder to the hand, and through that stroke, essentially the arm itself doesn't change shape. That's the power part of the stroke. From positive angle to neutral and just beyond, that arm really hasn't changed shape. Okay? Its motivation is to push against the water that is pushing upwards, and it generates lift in combination with the top shoulder that is pushing down. Okay? Once that paddle is in the water, this arm's job is to hang on to the shaft and come back with the body. Again, it expresses what the body is doing, it doesn't have its own opinion. The mistakes you'll see with a bottom arm is that people will try to bend it and try and pull themselves towards the destination. If you bend an arm and you pull on it, the hand will get closer to the shoulder. That's what bending an arm does. There's no way of bending an arm without the hand coming closer to your shoulder. If you bend it, then all the load that we're trying to put down, and now we're picking this hand up, that will make the top hand want to go up at the same time, and we're already struggling to hold that top hand down. So by bending the arm, we take the paddle out of the water, and by taking the paddle out of the water, we lose the pressure that's on it, and the paddle will scoop out towards the side. So they're paddlers that you see will get into the front of the catch there, bend the arm, and the paddle will skim off out to the side, partly because this arm's bent and partly because that arm is out of control. So bending the arm and pulling towards you, in my book, is an absolute no-no. You put the arm in, it holds onto the paddle, and boom, expresses the movement of the chest again, not have an opinion of its own. When you see that in action, if you bend this arm, you see that the top arm wants to go up, and it will overtake the bottom arm very quickly. In that scenario, when you push down into the water with this arm and follow the path that it would follow if you just dropped it, that's where the force is applied, around that arc, boom, and we're back towards our hip. Finish the pull at some stage around here. Obviously I'm going to drift back if I don't put my foot down. So that bottom arm dictates partly the depth of the paddle, definitely the path of the paddle, and it just hangs on while your body generates the force. Once it's back here, it's now got to take the paddle out, and we'll cover that in 2 seconds. So before we show you the taking the paddle out, I just want to illustrate something to you that's useful for you as a coach when you're watching your own paddlers. When you look at a paddler from the front, or you can see it from the side as well, you can see this part of the forearm. Now, if when they're pulling, you've got this very raised, very sort of tight bit on the top, little bump there, you know that they're bending their arm. That piece comes up as soon as you bend your arm. Relax it and it disappears, tension it and it comes up. So if at the front end of the pull you've got this bumpy bit here, you know that they're trying to bend their arm. If you've got a nice solid, well, a bit too far away from the camera, but if you've got a nice solid pull, downward action following, this part of the arm is always quite quiet until we need to take it out at the back, at which point, boom, there's the bit that we're using now to take the paddle out at the back. Okay, you can see it just in there. So we don't want that bend in here because we're taking the paddle out of the water here. That's no use to us because we need it in the water here. Only when we get back here, boom, we take it out of the back there. Okay, so they're little clues and keys to look out for when you're coaching, working with other people. You can even get your mates to check on you to see what you look like. Well, it's probably best not to check with your mates to see what you look like because they're very rarely complimentary. So now we'll take the paddle out of the back, just as the top arm, remember, follows the chest round, so does the bottom arm. We put the paddle in at the front, we pulled. I'm now pretty much square across my boat, my chest is at 90 degrees to the boat. If I continue that rotation now, that arm will come out to the side automatically. What we don't want is the arm at the back getting to here and tucking in, because then you see that you'll lead the takeout with your elbow, which lifts the shoulder, changes your whole body dynamic. If you take out here and take out with the back of your hand, you can take out without lifting your shoulder, only lifting a forearm, which is easy, as opposed to lifting a whole arm, shoulder and side. We take out with the back of the hand and take out cleanly. Okay, we'll give you exercises to work on that later. So we've pulled on the pulled. I said I wouldn't say that, didn't I? So we haven't pulled. We've just held on to that paddle as the body does the loading, and now we've taken it out cleanly at the back. Putting it in at the front is a drop-in down movement. You must not be tempted at the putting in at the catch to pull back before you pull down. So from here in our air time, we must drop down to the water, straight down, okay, as if that arm is, well, it is hinged at the top, isn't it? We don't even have to imagine it. Hinged there, it drops down. That's its job, straight down. Do not come back into the water here. You'll end up with a big vacuum behind, not vacuum, but air-filled pocket behind the paddle, and you can't get any load on a paddle that has a big pocket of air behind it. So that arm puts the paddle in, it holds onto it, and then it takes it out. Simples. Okay, so here we are, exercises for the bottom arm. I've got the bungees up through the door again, just like we had with the top arm. So we've got this angle. This angle represents that I'm being pulled up. That's the same as the water spitting me out. The water always, the moment you put pressure on it, will give you pressure the other way, and that's the force we're learning to resist. So from here, my pulling arm, my bottom arm, done it again. From here, got this as our leg on the footrest. As we stand up, we pull down. That arm doesn't bend and then pull down. It's from here, straight down and back to you, towards your hip. Down, back towards your hip as the body rotates. Down and back. The moment you bend that arm, you can see all the pressure comes off. We do not want to bend that arm. Down and back. Lovely job. Simple. Second exercise we can do for this at home with the bungees. We've already done the putting in and the turning. Now we have to take out. Now I've got the bungees directly coming from in front of me. one bungee in each hand, ta-da, and with my elbows tucked. So let's look at me from the front. I'm going to be in this position with the bungees. My elbows aren't going to move and my hands are going to turn outwards. My shoulders are being pushed down, my hands are turning out. You'll feel your shoulder blades compress onto the back of your rib cage and squeeze together. So we're here and here, not here and here, where we're taking out with our elbows and shoulders. We're here and here, turning outwards and backwards. I'll take up as much slack as I need to take up on here, get my hands to the position they're going to be in, and I can do it double-sided, taking both out at the same time. Elbows stay where they are, hands turn outwards, or I can just do it on the one side, from here, and turn out, turn out. From the front, that would look like this. I'm not taking my hand out, I'm turning out, and just resisting the force on the bungee, that would be pulling my hand in. So I'm in this position with the bungee, turn out. From that point there, I can just bend my elbow, we're good to go for the other side. So here to here. Show you that again with the bungee. From here to here, here to here. Okay, so that's going to be the final part, I guess, in that little series. What I hope you've taken away from the last two videos is that the arms are not the generator of power. They are the expressor of the power you've generated. All they can do is muck it up. They don't add to it, they don't do anything, they haven't got a mind of their own, but they can ruin everything for you if you don't control them. The arms are small parts of a big structure. Feel free to ask questions on the YouTube page, on our channel. It'd be really handy if you signed up, because I've worked out we need 1,000 people to sign up before we make any money, and we're desperate here, we're desperate. So sign up on there, subscribe to the channel, be on Facebook. I can answer questions on Facebook or YouTube, or you can probably find me to send me a direct message anyway. So a little bit sad to be ending, but I will be glad to get rid of the beard and maybe the hair as well. But that's it for that series. If you want more, or you think I've got anything else to offer, just send in ideas. Most of the people who know me know I'm a bit of a one-trick pony, but you might find something else I've got some knowledge of if you're lucky. And any ideas for other videos will be considered, provided it's not too onerous, and we'll do our best to inform you. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.